How about our mate Joe Biden?
Well, it's not bad news with regards to Joe Biden. It's good news. He's had to cancel his trip to Australia. So I say we dodged a bullet. Here's the US president announcing that he won't be visiting next week.
I'm postponing the Australia portion of the trip and my stop in Papua New Guinea in order to be back for the final negotiations with congressional leaders. And I spoke today with Prime Minister Albanese of Australia and a short time ago and let him know.
And here is Prime Minister Albanese's response.
Albanese.
President Biden, though, indicated that he was very much looking forward to coming down at a future date when it can be arranged, and I will visit the United States for a state visit later this year.
Now, I can well understand Mr Albanese's disappointment because he would have been looking forward to telling President Biden, no, Biden would have heard it 20 or 30 times already, how Albanese was raised by a single mum in Housing Commission. The great thing about President Biden is no matter how many times you tell him that story, he hears it every time like it's the first time he's ever heard it. I tell you, the other people that are upset about this, Caleb, is the Papua New Guineans. You've got to feel for them. They were due to have Biden visit for 3 hours on Monday, the first ever visit of a sitting US president. They'd given everybody in the country the day
Public
off.
Holiday.
They've spent 6 months preparing, and now he's not coming.
I know.
Okay,
I think what actually
devastating.
happened is, and I believe we've got some footage this morning of when Biden realised what was going on. He was meant to fly to Australia, but he'd forgotten about it. That's why he's actually cancelled on it. The bloke can't even keep the diary. Someone probably told him yesterday and he'd forgotten by the time he'd gone to bed. Or go to Australia. Oh, God, I've missed my flight. I can't do it anymore.
He lined up for the flight to Austria. That was the problem.
That's right. And by the way, when we heard from Albanese there, his response, have you ever heard a politician give a more boring answer to a question? I might go to the US at some point. My God, I thought, does this bloke got a problem with him? Like Biden supposedly got a stutter.
He just really doesn't seem to mind, which I think does echo our sentiments for once. Thanks, Albanese. Now, you've probably heard of the Durham report. This is a long-awaited report, which is basically an investigation into an investigation. It was commissioned years ago in 2019, and this thing has finally been released. It's all about investigating the government's handling, the government agencies' handling, looking into this whole Trump-Russia collusion. What was the basis of it? Well, it's told us everything that we already knew. These agencies were weaponized to try and show that Trump was a dirty character in all this, but now it's been shown up to be the lies by the Clinton campaign that we already knew it was. So it's basically confirmed everything that we knew, but in beautiful detail. There's 480 interviews in this thing. Over 1 million documents were reviewed. So you can understand that this is the press secretary at the White House dodging madly questions regarding this report.
What's the White House reaction to Special Counsel Durham's report on how the FBI handled the Trump-Russia probe?
I would leave it to the Department of Justice to speak to.
The president talks often about how he wants the DOJ and FBI to remain independent and above the fray. That report seems to reflect the opposite. Does he agree with Special Counsel Durham that there needs to be wholesale changes at the FBI?
Again, that is with the Department of Justice. That's not something that I'm going to speak from the podium. As you just stated in your question, we believe in an independent Department of Justice.
Run, baby, run.